It's hard to believe that it's been nearly 30 years since Mercedes-Benz practically invented the mid-size luxury SUV with the introduction of the original M-Class all the way back in 1996. Now, of course, the current generation M-Class has been renamed to the GLE class almost a decade ago, with the current fourth generation making its debut in America back in 2020. Now, last year, Mercedes-Benz gave the entire GLE family a pretty significant overhaul, which also included the addition of a new plug-in hybrid model in America called the GLE 450e. It essentially has the same numerical hierarchy as the GLE 450, which has a turbo inline six, but this powertrain combines a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder with a powerful electric motor and a big 23.3 kilowatt-hour battery pack. So as you can see, this week we are testing out the latest 2025 GLE 450e, and the big question I would answer: if you guys are looking for a new mid-sized luxury SUV that effectively blends perfect performance between electrification and, of course, a gas engine, how does the latest GLE 450e stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling changes that Mercedes made last year, let me go ahead and first pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing. Now, of course, being that this is a GLE 450e, it has a unique powertrain which combines the base engine, a 2-liter turbo 4, with a powerful electric motor. Now, as you can see underneath the hood, you're going to hear the engine running. That's because when the hood's open, their computer basically forces the engine to stay on, and that's the reason why you're hearing it running. But most of the times, you're going to actually just have the vehicle on, and it's going to basically be silent like an electric car. Now, like I said earlier, this is a longitudinally mounted 2-liter turbo direct injection 4, making like 295 horsepower on its own. It's augmented by a 134 horsepower electric motor that basically sits between the engine and the 9-speed automatic transmission. Now, the electric motor draws its power from a 23.3 kilowatt-hour battery pack, good for up to 50 miles of electric-only range, making it among the best in the class. Total output is 381 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. Those output figures are pretty impressive until you start looking at the BMW X5 plug-in hybrid, which offers an extra 102 horsepower. But of course, I'll talk about the BMW for its own separate review. It all goes out through a 9-speed automatic, like I said, with the company's standard 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, of course. Now, fuel economy, if you guys don't have the battery recharged, it's rated to get 22 in the city, 26 on the highway, 23 combined. 60 mpge is what the EPA says you'll get if you have the battery pack charged up all the time, but that number means nothing because electric motors are measured in kilowatt hours, not mpge. Now, the company says with this powertrain combination, it's good for 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. That's technically a half a second slower than the inline 6-power GLE 450. Of course, top speed is around 130 miles an hour. The GLE plug-in hybrid can still tow a maximum of 7,700 pounds, and as this car sits, it weighs in at just over 5,700 pounds. That's a whopping 700 pounds heavier versus the regular GLE 450, minus, of course, the plug-in hybrid part. But let's go ahead and close up the hood here and talk about the exterior styling. Now, first of all, this vehicle, like I mentioned earlier, this 4th generation GLE first made its debut back in 2019, and it got a pretty significant style refresh last year. I've already shown you guys the updated styling about almost 2 years ago when I had 2 GLE models, but as you can see, the look hasn't really changed for 2025. This color is called Coteau d'Azur Light Blue. It's an extra $6,500 for the color, which the light blue is pretty, don't get me wrong, but it's not worth $6,500 for me. I don't like how my test car doesn't have the upgraded headlights. You can see these are a full LED, where you have an LED low and high beam, LED turn signals, LED daytime running lights, but the reflector housing for the low and high beam looks very cheap. You can get an updated projector LED for an extra charge. You can see the classic Mercedes logo here has the actual 3-pointed stars in the actual grille, part of the texture, which looks good with the big double Mercedes logo that houses the sensor for the radar cruise control. The AMG body styling on my test car also looks nice with all the chrome accents. You can also get an AMG night package, which will black out the chrome, but I actually think the chrome looks good with the Coteau d'Azur light blue metallic. Moving around the side profile, this is again a mid-size SUV that's perfectly proportioned with a 117.9-inch wheelbase and a 194-inch overall length. This is literally the same size as its rivals like a BMW X5, a Lexus RX, a Range Rover Sport, a Porsche Cayenne, and I think the styling of this vehicle has aged well, although we should expect to see a new version show up sometime in the next year or so. Now, my particular test car has the optional 21-inch multi-spoke AMG wheels, which the wheels look great with the kind of graphite gray and machine look finish. You have a 275/45 R21 Pirelli tire at the front, and even fatter 315 at the back. So it's staggered setup, makes this vehicle look extra sporty. My test car also has the adaptive air suspension, which will raise and lower the vehicle up to increase the ground clearance. I also love the full paint finish. The drilled rotors at the front, I believe those are like 14-inch rotors at the front, and they certainly look nice, very impressive compared to other models. You can see the badge here, EQ Hybrid, lets you know that this is a plug-in hybrid, and you can really see that beautiful metallic fleck in the paint. I mean, for an extra $6,500, this color is pretty, but I personally would go with the a green color that they also offer for the same upcharge. The mirrors, you can see power folding, body colored, turn signals, and 360 camera. I also like the chrome along the window trim, along the roof rails. The panoramic glass roof, as you can see, is typically an extra $1,500 upcharge. My test car has it, of course. And when you back away from the GLE, this is, you know, classic three-box shape for an SUV, and it's instantly recognizable as a Mercedes SUV. The updates they made at the front for this year, or from last year, also carry over to the back with an updated taillight design. There's a subtle little GLE 450e badge back here, along with these upgraded LED taillights. I do like how the turn signal is an LED amber color, which is nice. Now over here, you're gonna find the charge port door, and this is where the GLE 450e gets weird because it's a plug-in hybrid, but it still offers DC fast charging with the J1772 plug. This vehicle will basically allow you to accept up to 60 kilowatts on a level 3, allowing you to go from 10 to 80% in about 20 minutes. You really shouldn't be fast charging a plug-in hybrid vehicle. The onboard charger, plugged up to a level 2, will take about 3 hours to charge the vehicle from empty to full, about 24 hours if you guys are on a level 1 charger, so keep that in mind. Remember, 50 miles of electric only range is what the EPA says. Now with the AMG body style, you can see you have dual exhaust tips at the rear with a lot of chrome at the lower bumper, which is nice. The rear spoiler also could be bigger. You can get an optional rear spoiler that's larger. The rear window wiper, as you can see, sits right in the middle. There's also additional chrome there. Looking at the cargo area, the power liftgate is included, obviously, with this trim. You can see the cargo space is also unaffected as well. You have around 33 cubic feet of storage space with the seats up. No third row is offered on this model, obviously. The battery actually takes up the space underneath here, so this does not allow me to lift it up to get some underfloor storage, and there's also no spare. If you want to fold down the seats back here, Mercedes actually allows you, or actually they don't allow you, that allows you to lower the air suspension. That is a little power outlet there, so you have to fold down the seats from like up here, which is kind of annoying how there's no secondary release, but as you can see, push that forward, that folds the seat down. Not a completely flat floor, but it expands the cargo to around 74 cubic feet of space. Again, it's unchanged from the regular GLE, and it's nice how they were able to package the battery pack where it doesn't affect that, but you do lose the underfloor storage, and its cargo capacity is on the higher end of the class. So moving on to the interior of this new 2025 GLE 450e, before we get inside, let me show you guys the key fob. As you can see, this is the latest intelligent access key that Mercedes uses on a lot of their products. It's a nice size and feeling key. It feels high quality. I like the metal trim that they use on the outside of the key with your usual buttons here for lock, unlock, power liftgate for the trunk, and then a panic function as well. Once you keep the key fob in your pocket, you can see the door handles are the traditional pull style with the chrome accents. If you touch anywhere here on the doors, the vehicle will lock the doors, the mirrors will power fold in. Mercedes does not offer an auto walkaway lock or unlock feature, at least on this car. If you touch the back of the door handle, that will unlock the door for you. Now, my particular test car, loved the color combination with the Coto d'Azur light blue and this Bahia brown and black two-tone upgraded leather interior. As you can see, the seats themselves look really exquisite. I love the leather and like the, I guess the wrinkles that you can see, the natural wrinkles, which looks nice. The seats adjust, I believe, in 14 different ways. They are heated and ventilated. But my test car doesn't have the Pinnacle package, so it's lacking the massaging front seats, which is a little frustrating considering the price. My test car also has the natural grain walnut wood trim, which looks really good with the brown and black two-tone here on the dash and on the door panels. I also love the Burmester metal speaker covers along with the metal buttons here for the seat controls. You have 3-person memory on the driver and on the passenger side. You can see there's actual buttons here to open or to control the heated and ventilated seats. Love how this is nice and leather covered and padded. Same thing over here, and then down here it is a hard touch plastic, but again, it offers a little additional storage, and overall the interior makes a great first impression. Now, stepping inside, it has a really easy step-in height. I think the ground clearance is like around 8 inches when you have it in its normal mode. If I shut the door The door has a nice solid sounding thunk, and then there is the option for a soft close feature. My test car is missing it for like an extra $550. Now, starting the vehicle up, you can see the start stop button is down here, a little bit lower than some competitors, but once you push that, the vehicle will essentially just come to life. And remember, this is a plug-in hybrid, so most of the times it's going to default to electric only performance. So it'll just say ready in the instrument panel. The engine won't come on. And you can see all 450e models will come with their latest infotainment system with dual 12.3-inch displays. And this is not their latest MBUX system, but it does at least have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And then my test car is missing the Pinnacle trim. It's missing a heads-up display. There's also soft padded leather on this upper portion here. I love the ambient lighting. Mercedes does a great job with making their interiors feel like nightclubs. And then you can see you have traditional metal accented dash vents here with more of that beautiful wood and leather here and here. So all the touch points are fantastic. I don't love the steering wheel in this car. For a car that has the AMG body styling on the outside, you have to pay extra to get the AMG Sport steering wheel and this interior, which if you want the AMG Sport steering wheel with the flat bottom design, you can't get it with the brown interior. It only comes with a black interior. I don't like how Mercedes limits you on that. You do have a power tilt telescoping wheel, paddles behind the steering wheel to control the 9-speed auto, touch sensitive buttons here to control that and to control that. You can see I actually put the map display there on accident. You can also kind of click on that and change the view here entirely if you want to go to like a navigation, assistance view, off-road, service, classic, sport, and then understated. I really just like the classic look. But again, I like how Mercedes gives you that customization. You can see here, there's the embedded GPS, which is nothing super special. It does kind of give you a 3D view, but surprisingly, I don't see a satellite view. Although I guess if I tap that, you can sort of change that. I much prefer the north up view. But again, nothing super fancy. And then this is kind of where you can control the different, options. There's a new hybrid page here that tells you if you want to turn the fast charging on and off. It tells you your charge times here, your consumption, your energy flow, vehicle information, and your engine specs to show how much power it's producing. The comfort mode here, this is where you could find the massaging seats if my test car had it, but it doesn't. And then the ambient lighting, I love how it offers a multicolor with so many different vibes. There's like a jungle green, there's a cyan, a fresh cyan. I really like the ultramarine. It really makes a huge difference, especially at night. So this is pretty standard stuff. This hasn't really changed, but I'm surprised Mercedes hasn't put their latest MBUX system. I imagine they're going to save that with the portrait style screen for the full redesign that's coming in the next couple of years. Now down here you can see you have cup holders. You can get heated and cooled cup holders. My test car is missing it, of course. The Pinnacle trim has it. You have a wireless phone charging pad here, which is slightly ventilated, which is nice. You also have this beautiful wood that covers this, a really sturdy feeling, high quality lid. The ambient lighting continues here. I love the two grab handles, and if you don't want to touch the screen, you can use this little control pad here, which I think it works better as a touchscreen. There's a nice little arm or hand rest here, which is nice. This controls your air suspension to make it go up and down. Some shortcut buttons over here. And then you can see nice padded center console. Open that up. It's not the biggest. You have your USB-C charging port here, along with 2 more USB-Cs over there. So a total of 3 in the front seat area. This really could be bigger. The seats are also comfortable and supportive. They hold you in place nicely, and the leather feels high quality. The cooled seat also works really nice. And you can also control the passenger side seat from the driver's side by just pushing that button there, which is a great touch. The glove box, you can see, opens up. It's damped and it's lined with felt. It's a bin style. Offers pretty big storage, actually, which makes up for the small center console storage here. The audio system also sounds good if you're an audiophile. Highly recommend adding the executive trim, at least, to get the Burmester sound. The auto-dimming rearview mirror is frameless. It looks really nice. No digital camera rearview mirror. The Germans typically don't offer that. You have a woven material for the headliner, and this glass roof, as you can see, is optional. It goes all the way into the back seat area, which is nice. And you also have some LED map lighting in here, which is important when you're spending this kind of money. There's the button for it. But overall, the interior is pretty similar to the last GLE that I tested. I just don't like the way the steering wheel looks, but I love this brown. The build quality feels good. Not a single squeak and rattle in this interior. And the hood, while it does have a little bit of a bulge with this higher dashboard, it takes a little bit of getting used to with the big A-pillar, so visibility isn't as good as some of its rivals. But let's go ahead and hop into the backseat area. I can show you guys what that space is like. Now, as you can see, because this is only a 2-row vehicle, you do have plenty of second-row legroom. Mercedes-Benz says you have around 40.9 inches of legroom, which is among the best in the segment, really. Material quality back here is the same as the front. Nice padded leather with the contrast stitching, real wood trim. It would be nice to have retractable shades. For 94 grand, it really should have that. Nice padded leather here. It's hard touch plastic here. And like I showed you earlier, this seat does fold down to expand the cargo. It has a little bit of a hump, though. It raises up slightly. so it's not a completely flat floor, but it's still pretty decent. And the leather back here also looks nice. Once I come back here, you can see this is practically my driving position. I am noticing the seat feels low. Like, it doesn't offer like race stadium style seating, but the vehicle is wide enough to fit 3 people across. You do have rear seat air vents here and here in the center. So there's 2 vents back here, which is nice. Not a flat floor here. I can sit back here, comfortably cross my legs and get pretty comfortable. You can see there's quad zone climate control. Actually, I wasn't expecting to find a quad zone system, but it's lacking heated or ventilated seats back here. Again, you have to pay extra to basically add that. There's a little bit of an open panel here, 2 USB-C charging ports, 2 storage cubbies into the seat backs, which is nice. If I fold this down, you can see there's an armrest with 2 cup holders. The seats this doesn't offer a recline, sadly. That's something some competitors do offer. And then you can see the headrest is at a good position. Plenty of headroom space, like a solid 3-4 inches of headroom. So this is great in terms of the back seat space. So that's probably one of the reasons why this vehicle is one of the top selling cars for Mercedes-Benz USA. But just keep in mind, this model does not offer the third row. The third row is small. If you need a usable third row, Mercedes-Benz will happily sell you a GLS class instead. So it's kind of crazy to think it's been nearly 2 years since Mercedes-Benz sent us a GLE to test for a full week. Back in late 2023, we had a GLE 450, the non-plug-in hybrid, obviously, and a GLE 63S AMG model, which is the pinnacle of the lineup. That's the model that has over 600 horsepower. The GLE 450, however, I thought was a really great middle ground between all the different powertrain options that Mercedes-Benz offers. Now, obviously, the plug-in hybrid is very different because it has the same numerical hierarchy as the inline-6 450, but this combines a 4-cylinder turbo with a 134 horsepower electric motor. So the electric motor is not a lot of power on its own. Nearly 300 horsepower comes from the gas engine. Mercedes-Benz claims this model should be good for 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. That is a smidge slower, half a second slower than the GLE 450 inline-6. That time would make it pretty similar to a Lexus RX 450h, significantly slower than a BMW X5 plug-in hybrid. So we have the vehicle in sport mode. We're starting off here with around 75% state of charge. And let's go ahead and see what we can get 0 to 60 wise. To get the best time, you basically put it in sport and then you just brake torque it and see what you can get here. Oof, feels pretty quick. Quick shifting 9-speed auto too. 0 to 60 in 5.56 seconds there. So 5.56, I expected the Mercedes-Benz estimate to be conservative. That's a good time. It's gonna be kind of in between the Lexus and the BMW competitor. The last RX 450h Plus that I tested did it in, I think, a little over 6 seconds. So that's definitely an improvement. I also have to admit, the 4-cylinder doesn't sound too hateful. I still don't like the fact that they don't put that amazing 3-liter inline-6 as the gas engine. But for a 4-cylinder, it's a relatively refined engine, and it also has a quick shifting 9-speed auto. I love the fact that it's a 9-speed auto as opposed to a CVT. This experience for a 4-cylinder is way better than the Lexus, which has its droning eCVT naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Let's try another run here. Oof. That electric motor really delivers a nice shove of power. 5.85 seconds there. Now that's with it more going slightly uphill, so kind of keep that in mind. That time is 0.2 seconds. So the 5.3 that I got is 0.2 seconds slower than the GLE 450. So technically, even though this has a little more power, a lot more torque than the inline-6, it is slower because of that extra 700 pounds of weight. So kind of keep that in mind. The rest of the driving experience with this car is kind of a nice balance between sport and comfort. The ride quality of our test car here is, it's got the adaptive air suspension on the big 21-inch wheels. It has a really comfortable ride. It soaks up the bumps quite nicely. You don't feel much in terms of, jitters or body shakes. The interior also stays pretty quiet. The seats are also comfortable. They don't have much in terms of lateral bolstering, but the cushioning feels good. The cooling function also works good. I'm irritated that my test car is missing the massaging seats, especially at this price point. The steering in this car is pretty light and numb and devoid of feel, but at least it changes directions quickly. The car feels like it has some fire that you get from the AMG model, especially with the bigger 21-inch wheels and the AMG body styling package. But this is where the Porsche Cayenne or the BMW X5 is going to give you an even more spirited driving experience. But this is better versus the Lexus RX. This definitely feels a class above and sportier than the RX, but which is better considering how much more expensive this vehicle is. But overall, the GLE can certainly handle its own on a back road. I just don't love how the plug-in hybrid part adds an extra 700 pounds of weight. That is a significant amount of additional weight in this car, and it makes it feel a little bit more heavy when you're putting your foot down. So this is where I don't like that 4-cylinder there. So there are instances where I think the 4-cylinder sounds okay, and then there are other times where I think it sounds like trash. Again, you wouldn't really notice that if you never drive the 450 V or 6-cylinder, or if you drive the BMW equivalent. So, you know, it's an interesting choice because I have driven the E53 hybrid, which has an inline 6 paired up with an electric motor and a powerful electric motor on the E53 AMG, and I love that powertrain combination. So I was expecting to find similar feel in this car, and it's not the same because of the 4-cylinder that just kind of ruins the experience, mostly if you're a driving enthusiast. Thankfully, the brakes also have a nice feel. Mercedes has tuned the transition between regen and friction braking to be quite nice. The rear drive biased 4MATIC system actually feels nice. Again, it really doesn't sound good there. Now I'm going to switch it out of its dynamic mode. I'm going to go into the electric mode. So in pure electric driving, this car will favor pure electric mode, but I also will point out that if you push the throttle past like 60%, even with a full charge, the gas engine comes on. So I won't be able to test out a 0 to 60 in pure EV mode. It would be dreadfully slow because it only offers 134 horsepower in EV mode. But what I will say is they've tuned the electric motor to deliver all that torque instantaneously. So from a dead stop, this actually feels peppy. It's just when you start getting it going, it has no more power after that. And that's where you're going to need to wake up the gas engine to move this, you know, 5,700 pound beast around. But just for around town and stop and go traffic, it actually feels like it has enough power, and you will feel the transmission shifting when it's in pure electricity mode, which is weird. But remember, the electric motor is sandwiched between the engine and the 9-speed auto, so it will have to go through those gears to actually get you going. But I think you can go up to like 80 miles an hour in pure EV mode, although you're not going to want to be able to do that. You're going to accelerate very, very slowly when you're in pure EV mode. There's no like one pedal drive for this vehicle, which is a little disappointing. But in terms of the visibility, you can see out of the front, and the side's decent. This A-pillar is a little bit on the thicker side. The view out of the back is perfect though. The headrests don't even really block your way, which is good because there's no digital camera rearview mirror, which kind of irritates me. In terms of efficiency, in my week's worth of testing, I averaged around 21 mpg in mixed driving. That's when I didn't have the battery charged. Most of the times I did have it charged up, which is how I think most people are going to drive it. That's where the EPA says you'll get 60 mpge, but that number to me means nothing because that's not how you measure the efficiency of an electric motor. In my week's worth of testing, on a full charge, this vehicle was showing 60 miles of electric-only range. I was able to do around just under 50, which is the best that I've gotten so far in these mid-size plug-in hybrid SUVs. This has better range than the BMW, the Lexus, the Porsche. Only the Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid, which I'll be testing at the end of this or next month, offers a little bit more electric-only range. So 50 is kind of like the new magic number for this particular class of vehicle, which, I mean, almost 50 in real-world testing is pretty impressive. So no complaints there. If you drive this car on pure electric power alone, you're going to really like it. It delivers the kind of experience that you're looking for. It's just when that gas engine wakes up, it's not very pleasant. When you have it in hybrid mode, I got around 400 miles of range on a full tank, plus the 50 miles you can get in pure electricity. So 450 miles, that's on premium gas, is actually really good. It's pretty comparable to a Lexus RX plug-in hybrid, although that will do closer to 500 miles if you can be really light with the throttle applications. But still, this is pretty impressive. I just find the inline 6 to be more interesting as an enthusiast. And then, of course, you can buy the BMW, which offers the inline 6 plus the plug-in hybrid, although 10 less miles of electric-only range. I'm hoping I can get a hold of one of those for a full week at some point. But overall, I really do enjoy the way this vehicle drives. It still has a comfortable, solid ride quality. It's quiet on the inside. It feels like it's built like a bank vault. It's so like sturdy feeling, not a single squeak and rattle. But overall, I think for the money and in the rest of the GLE family, the inline 6 may be my choice unless you plan to regularly use the electric power alone. Now, with just under 68,000 units sold in America last year, the GLE class was Mercedes-Benz's best-selling vehicle here in the States. It even outsold the GLC class, which I wouldn't be surprised to see the GLC outsell the GLE at the end of this year. Only time will tell in terms of the sales numbers, but after spending a full week with the plug-in hybrid version of the GLE class, I can easily see why this vehicle remains one of Mercedes-Benz's top sellers. I mean, this is essentially the E-class of their SUV lineup, and it offers a lot for the money. I mean, it's one of the most comfortable vehicles that you can drive. It's one of the quietest. It's not the sportiest, but it offers a nice blend between comfort and dynamics. The powertrain for this plug-in hybrid model, as you guys saw, did 0 to 60 in around 5.7 seconds, which is perfectly acceptable. It'll keep pace with an RX 450h Plus. However, the BMW will easily smoke this, and I assume the Porsche Cayenne and perhaps even the Range Rover Sport will as well. I'll be testing the Land Rover sometime next month. This color is also a pretty color, but I would skip it to save myself the $6,500. And the back seat is also usable. The trunk space is also among the largest in the class. But really what sours the experience for me is the fact that this has a 4-cylinder engine that's hooked up to the electric motor system, where it really should have their turbo inline 6, because the engine, while it's fine, compared to especially the Lexus with its droning eCVT, the BMW is definitely going to be the more desirable option for an enthusiast with the extra power, and the BMW also only loses around 10 miles of electric-only range. But if you guys are looking to get your hands on the plug-in hybrid version of the GLE, Mercedes-Benz has made the proposition pretty interesting, because you can get it to a base price GLE for around 62 grand. That's for a 350 without 4MATIC all-wheel drive. Most of you are going to spend the extra 3 grand to add all-wheel drive. The 450 inline 6 powered mild hybrid is around 71,350. The 450e is the exact same price as the inline 6, which kind of makes the choice interesting, because for the same money you could get a plug-in hybrid 4-cylinder with 50 miles of electric-only range, or a turbo mild hybrid inline 6, which gets pretty similar gas mileage. The gas mileage figure is actually only 2 mpg combined if you guys don't leave this vehicle plugged in. Now, of course, my test car, being a Mercedes, has like 20 grand worth of options, especially when you add the destination charge. The most expensive is the AMG body styling for $3,200. It's got the executive trim. That's an extra $1,300, although I would add the Pinnacle trim for an extra 4 grand. With the color upcharge, the destination, the upgraded wheels, of course, the panoramic sunroof, all in, my test car here is just under $94,000, which I know is a lot of money. It makes it about the same price as an X5 plug-in hybrid, but keep in mind the BMW has an extra 100 more horsepower, and my test car is missing massaging seats, a head-up display, heated and cooled second row seats, for example. If you want all of those features plus the air fragrance system where it has that perfume that wafts it in, you're going to be spending well over $100,000 for this vehicle. Now, if you look at some of the competitive set, a Range Rover plug-in hybrid starts at around $90,000. A Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid starts at around $100,000. The Lexus RX 450h Plus starts at around $72,000, which is similar to this vehicle, but the Lexus basically comes well-equipped with everything. There's no additional options to add, versus on this Mercedes, it has 20 grand worth of options. The sweet spot for me could be the BMW X5, but I think for the kind of money that Mercedes is asking here, unless you're regularly planning to plug it in and use the electric-only range, I personally might go for the 450 minus the E and get that turbocharged inline 6, because it's quicker, sounds better, it gets similar real-world gas mileage versus this model here. With all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2025 GLE 450e. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.